Hello everyone, and welcome to our Stratosphere Special on the 29th of December 2023. So recently we've been talking about the chance of an SSW, and in particular a split of the PV, which would probably lead to a more dramatic and longer lasting response from the troposphere, and therefore blocking would form over the Arctic and North Pole and Greenland and so on, and give us colder air. But recently we've come to the conclusion that a displacement is most likely, with pretty much all but two of the GFS ensembles going for that option. So that would mean probably a more toned down effect of the warming. So some blocking, but not so strong. And today we're doing an update on that. So this is the GFS 12Z operational run. So here we go. Here we go. A major warming forming right now over Siberia, penetrating into the Arctic and North Pole now over the New Year. The PV gets displaced in the end, and what happens to that? It stays as a displacement event. Towards the very end of the run, by January 12th, we're seeing a warming forming again over Siberia, but this one is weak, and it just keeps the PV displaced. No splits. So here is the ensembles, except that control run. Let's go to the Northern Hemisphere view and put the 10 HB temperatures on. Where are we now? Okay. So here we go again. So here is the control run. So we're seeing this warming dying out after New Year, but the PV stays displaced, and we see a new warming forming after that. And that one is also quite strong, and that does keep the PV displaced. Number one is like this. So PV is again displaced into the New Year. PV returns to its usual spot, but we've got signs of a warming starting towards Siberia. Ensemble 2 is like this. PV is again displaced with a new warming towards Siberia. So here's a new trend. So after this warming dies away at the end of the first week of January, we see a new warming forming hot on its heels towards Siberia again. But the PV on this one does go back to its more usual place in the end. Again, this member is again quite similar, with the PV going back to its usual spot by January 14th, but a new warming forming around Siberia. Ensemble 4 goes like that. Ensemble 5 is like this. Like that. Oh, that is quite a strong warming. Ensemble 6 is like this. Again, major warming actually by the end of it. Number 7 is like this. So again, displacement. PV temporarily regaining strength, but again, new warming. Ensemble 8 is like this. PV is displaced, but no warming. Ensemble 9 is like this. New warming starting to get going there. Ensemble 10 is like this. PV is displaced again, but it goes back towards the Arctic North Pole, but a new warming forms. Ensemble 11 is like that. Ensemble 12 is like this. Ensemble 13 is like this. Okay. Let's see, was that going for a split? No, it wasn't. 14 like this. 15, actually 14 is quite depressing. 14 has the PV going back to the North Pole and nothing else happening after it. 15 is like that. Again, a bit depressing. 16 16 is like that. Okay, so we get a big warming towards the end of it, and the PV, instead of going back to the North Pole or staying over us in Ireland, actually goes towards the USA. 16, 17, like that. 17, new warming. 18, like that. Again, it goes back to the North Pole. 19 that, 20, like that. We try and split it for a time, but it doesn't work. 21, that's like that. 22, like this. 23 is like this. 24, like that. Again, PV is huge at the end of it, and no warming to stop it growing back. Again, here we go again. This one is also like 24. That's 25. Did I show the same one twice? I may have done that. 26, because they're very, very similar. 26 is like that. 27, like that. 28 is like this. Okay. 29, like that. And number 30 is like that. So here we go. So all models have backed off a split of the PV. That's off the cards. So we're seeing our first displacements into the 1st of January. After that, the PV is likely to gain some strength back and go back towards the North Pole. But more than half of the ensembles have a new warming forming towards Siberia in the middle of January's second week, and that is a new focus. Okay, so next thing is the ECM mean zonal wind forecasts. So each blue line is an ECM ensemble, and this thick blue line it's a bit hard to make out, but it's here, like through here, follow the mouse up here, up there, and across all the way here. And the red line is the average line. This red line is the average. So dates in the bottom, and the speeds on the y-axis. And this zero line here, this light blue line, if any ensemble goes below that, it means that it's reversing the zonal winds, the winds around the Arctic and North Pole. If they're reversed, it means that they're going from east to west, and that means that you've got a technical SSW event. Now you'll notice that the most of the ensembles keep above the zero line. So actually, most of these now are not going for a technical SSW. So this would not be an SSW, but it would be a minor warming, but a minor but significant, and it would also displace the PV, and would probably be enough to have some sort of effect on the troposphere. And then after that, the thick blue line does stay below the thick red line. So it suggests that through January and into February, we're looking at a weakened zonal winds. It's still positive, but it's weakened, so that does heighten the chance of blocking signals through January and February. So it's so done for now. So we're seeing some updates here. Basically, no splits now, but displacements. This first warming, probably not an actual SSW, but definitely enough to displace to weaken and displace the PV. Then we might be seeing a second warming forming in mid-January. Again, fun and games with that. But the key thing here is that the PV is looking weakened pretty much from now on after this bump in the winds here. Blue line below the red line. So weakened PV through January and February. So thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you later on, and bye for now.